Hello and thank you. Thank you for inviting me to the conference and having me. It's great to see so many people attending and having the privilege to be actually able to present a little bit of research that we have recently commissioned and completed. We have commissioned a report called Sustaining Success, and essentially it has been highlighted to us some time ago that two councils, Leeds and Islington, have been doing something fairly good and fairly innovative in terms of running their park services. So in March 2024, we commissioned the London School of Economics and Dr. Meredith Whitten to complete a report analysing the approach to parks and green spaces in both local authorities. And the report comprised of a rapid evidence review through interviews with officers and officials of Islington and Leeds City Councils and with representatives of community organisations. So just to say, it's not a blueprint for how to run park services, because obviously those are very much dependent on and influenced by local context. However, adopting ideas from others can lead to reduced admin costs and enable faster implementation. So a total of 13 interviews were conducted, and the review relies on qualitative approach, which facilitates exploring 5 key criteria in good practice research. And those are importance, innovativeness, effectiveness, sustainability, and replicability. The report itself focuses on the following themes: leadership and vision, collaboration and partnership, strategy and practice, staffing and funding. Just to say, the report has not yet been published. We're trying to get it published before the conference, but it's still going through the cogs of government and a lot of corporate sign-offs. We are hoping to get it published towards the end of the month. As soon as it's published, we'll send the link out, and obviously you'll be able to receive the link through the Midlands Park Forum as well. So, moving on, the key findings. I'm only going to present some of the key findings, not all of them. The report is fairly long and detailed, but what is really interesting is that in both councils, the research found that Islington and Leeds approach their parks and green spaces as vital infrastructure that supports delivery of council priorities and a wide range of council services, including health, well-being, climate, biodiversity, housing, highways and transport, adult and child social care, but also equity and justice. Integrating parks and green spaces into the strategic vision and core strategies of the local authority underpins successful practices in Islington and Leeds, and embedding parks and green spaces across all the, well, I wouldn't say all, but across the core strategies of the councils has contributed to creating new ways of working, such as internal cross-team collaborations. Both councils have nurtured positive, productive relationships with a range of community partners, including local organizations, businesses, and residents. And the councils, or both councils, work with and support these partners who deliver events, maintenance, fundraising, advocacy, and programming that greatly extend the work of the work which normally a council could not really realistically achieve on their own. The increased activation of parks and green spaces by diverse partners, but also contributes to inclusivity as more people access and benefit from green spaces. Now, the parks teams in Islington and Leeds maintain positive and trusting relationships with council leadership, and that sort of led the council leadership to understanding the value of parks and green spaces, which adds to a range of council services. And this fosters confidence, collaboration, and culture of innovation, which then enables the park teams to explore ambitious ways of working, including through creative partnerships. Park teams also regularly engage with the elected members, and while they primarily work with the councillors whose portfolio includes green spaces, they can improve understanding of how the parks team supports wider council's objectives by communicating with other portfolio holders and linking different policy areas across the council, but also linking different portfolio holders, because that communication sometimes doesn't happen. Again, it very much depends on the local authority. So, for example, the Islington Parks team communicates regularly with portfolio holder for health and for well-being, and this kind of political buy-in also ensures that councillors collaborate with one another to integrate green spaces into their portfolios and across council strategies. Islington and Leeds also focus on delivering parks and green spaces that meet high quality standards. So improving and sustaining the quality of the parks and green spaces support wider council objectives, such as improving health and well-being, which I've already mentioned, but it's also critical for reducing inequalities in access to nature and disparities in health outcome. Driven by data and evidence and working in partnership with the community, the councils prioritize improvements in spaces that have failed to meet quality standards and in neighbourhoods that lack high-quality green spaces. Respondents in both councils or in both areas emphasize the importance of maintaining parks and green spaces to high-quality standards, and noting that creating new green spaces does not add benefit if those spaces are not maintained to those quality standards. And as such, both councils have prioritized improving and sustaining quality standards that support wider council objectives, again, such as improving health and well-being. But also, they focus on biodiversity within that, because obviously, as you have seen from the previous presentation, there's a huge and very important link between health and nature. So both park services use evidence and data, but also research to guide their decision making, including for operational strategy and investment decisions. Respondents from both councils described their focus on research and data collection as a deliberate decision, and noted that doing so had streamlined decision making, improved communication with senior management and leadership, and led to collaborative partnerships with external organizations. However, the councils, as you are very well aware, are not immune to all the pressures and challenges that other local authorities and the park sector are facing. And I've just realized I've gone to the wrong slide. There we go. So, as you're well aware, the park sector is facing the shortage of skills, and the skills needed to deliver, manage, and maintain parks and green spaces have evolved from traditional horticulture-focused roles, and thus the workforce needed in council park service has shifted as well. And the respondents have highlighted just some of the skills that a parks manager needs currently. So that could be finance, commercialization, community engagement, volunteer management, horticulture and arboriculture, asset and facilities management, contract management, grant writing, heritage, ecology, communication, health and safety, human resources, complaints management, but also sports and event management. Staff with horticultural skills remain in both councils particularly challenging to recruit, both in-house and via contractors, and I'm pretty much sure that you can recognize that picture across the sector as well. Lack of opportunities for career progression, notably for gardeners, affects both councils, and to address this, both councils are focusing on internal training, mentoring, and other methods of supporting existing staff to develop or to switch careers. However, this can lead to shortages elsewhere in the council, and opportunities to progress remain limited due to spending restrictions. While Islington and Leeds have apprenticeship schemes, they have experienced challenges retaining people from these schemes, because vacancies are not readily available when people complete the apprenticeship, and obviously they move elsewhere. Workforce diversity was identified by almost all respondents as recruitment difficulty, and there were two areas that they particularly highlighted. That was age and gender. And having a more diverse, inclusive culture and workforce is priority for both councils. Islington's Park Services, for example, have established a gender equalities action group to address this. And then funding, which obviously underpins the vast majority of the issues that the park services and the park sector is currently facing. So both councils have highlighted that funding schemes for parks and green spaces provided mainly by central government typically focus on capital improvements, yet funding for the ongoing maintenance from capital projects and sustaining programming in parks is rarely available, and the current funding model, which public parks which funds public parks primarily from local authority revenue budgets, is structurally unsustainable. And respondents expressed concern that although they can show current successes, it really kind of temporarily masks significant financial issues that they are facing. The report has also provides some key recommendations for both local and central government. So I'm going to very quickly try to sort of go through them. The main one really for us, the central government, is to focus on strategic support rather than short-term capital, but also prioritize capacity building over creating new spaces. So in the report, quite a lot of respondents said that quality of the existing green spaces and parks should take priority over the creation of the new green spaces, unless there is a sustainable funding model for the maintenance of those green spaces. So the report is calling for a more strategic approach to parks and green spaces through some kind of the cross-government working group, because one of the issues that the report has found as well is that the funding streams and the support for park sector provided by the government is very siloed, so quite often it's not coordinated across the departments. It also highlights the importance of focusing on quality and innovation within the sector and within local authorities, again, over prioritizing the creation of new spaces. But also, and that links very much to the key findings on how the both councils approach the park services. So it focuses on delivering parks and green spaces through collaborative approach and coordinated ways of working within the local authorities, but also with the communities and the wider sector. So that's me. Thank you very much. I don't think that my slides have met the bar of the previous of the previous presentation, but hopefully they're suitably blunt for a civil servant. Thank you.